It's Shar Nadmi Aqidati Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. It was written by a Syrian scholar, a Sheikh Muhammad al-Hashimi. He was a Shadhili scholar, a great knower of Allah, who died in the 1961, 60 something like that, 1381 Hijrah, right, in the previous century, right? Sheikh al-Hashimi, rahimahullah ta'ala, like revived spirituality, and all of the great scholars of the Shadhili school in Syria, they had some connection with him. The great Sheikh Abdul-Rahman al-Shaghuri and all those who come after, and some of the people in America who are notable, I don't need to mention them, they follow the route of Sheikh Muhammad al-Hashimi, his spiritual way. But this book, he wrote in Aqidah. And most of his books, we have other ones. Hold on one second. This is another one of his books. It's Majmu' Rasail, right? A compendium of all of his writings, and not all of them, but many of his writings and the books he wrote. All this was recently published, new, right? But these books would show you his methodology, right? And he talked about the creed extremely, and he was a Sufi, big Sufi, right? But he talked about Aqidah, very important. And there is in the introduction, I'm sorry, I'm getting it going. He talked about some of the special merits and traits, right? Qasa'isu Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, special things about Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. And among them, he said al-wilaya, which is sainthood, right? Piety, right? He said that the wali is the one who draws close to Allah by way of his good deeds, righteous deeds, and training his nafs and his ego, right? And then he said, wal aqidatu salima, and sound belief, meaning aqidatu Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. He said, meaning the belief of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. He said here that this Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah is a condition for the acceptance of deeds. And he said it is not possible for a person to be a wali of Allah and he has beliefs that contradict the belief of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. That's deep. He said that it's impossible that a person could be a wali, one who drew close to Allah, and he has beliefs that contradict the belief of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. And he said the relation between the Awliya of Allah and Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah is a relationship of generality and absolute specificness, specification, I guess. Exclusivity. Excuse me, that's another way. That's a better word. That's a relationship. To be a wali of Allah, which we should strive to know Allah, there's no way to get there with bad belief. If your belief system is not consistent with the belief of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, forget about it. That's deep. Then he made, let me show you this. He made after mentioning that part, he made an example, right? At the top, the outward circle, he put as-Sawad al-A'zam, which is the majority of the Muslim nation. And then under Ahl-Sunnati wal Jama'ah, right? That's the outer circle. That's the generalization, right? And inside the circle, Awliya Allah Ta'ala. Those pious servants of Allah who are reaching the level of ma'rifah, right? It's deep. And what he's mentioning there is to show us that creed is important, right? Creed is important. If you want to be among the awliya of Allah, your creed is important. It is the foundation. And inside of that, you're going to be able to travel to Allah. And if you want to be the happiest person in the world, you need to be among the awliya of Allah. As Allah said, "Ala inna awliya Allahi la khawfun alayhim wa la hum yahzanun." That verily the awliya of Allah, those righteous servants of Allah, they have no fear or no grief. They will have glad tidings in this world and the hereafter. That's some deep stuff. And these were men who were known to reach a rank, and people in that time agreed to their rank of piety. They said the way there, that outer circle, is being in conformity with the creed of Ahl-Sunnati wal Jama'ah. That's deep. Remember yesterday I said, if you think that this is about debating, about all that, you missed it. This is about getting to ma'rifah and to realization of Allah. And the awliya of Allah, they have the road to ma'rifah. And the beginning of that step is sihhatul i'tiqad, to have the sound belief. And then he mentions in his books, what is the sound belief? And he mentions specifically the Ash'ariyah and the Maturidiyah. It's a deep thing. What we have today, as if this is something to be hidden. Hide from the people the truth. And you got people who follow this that don't spread it, except in their little small circle. La ilaha illallah. And the author of books, the Sheikh, was foremost in writing books in this issue. And we got us that we don't stick to it. It's sad that that's that compromising the principle stuff. And I'm not saying you got to be harsh, but you got to be clear, right? Think about it. The majority of the Muslim nation, past and present, to this day, are either Ash'ari or Maturidi. Right? In Aqidah. I want to ask you a question. Last question. I promise I'm going to go after this. I know I always say that and keep going, right? Right? The vast majority of Muslims, past and present, are Ash'ari and Maturidi. I want to ask question. How many of you, this is, since you've been learning and studying and coming to these post-Fajr reflections, knew about the Ash'ari or Maturidi schools and understood what they believe and what they represent and who's the Imam and all about it?